Guys, please stop buying Malignance on Karma support. I don't care if you buy it on ADC Karma, Top Karma, Mid Karma, even Karma Jungle if you play that. But just not on support, and I'll tell you why. So taking a look at Malignance's cost and stats, for 2,700 gold, you get 3,690 gold worth of stats. 80 AP, 25 ability haste, and 600 mana. Also, 20 ulti haste. The item's effect is Hate Fog. You deal an area of damage over time when you deal damage to enemies with your ulti. And it's got a 3-second cooldown per enemy. The 600 mana doesn't mean much for Karma. By the time Karma gets Malignance, she'll be around level 8, so about 17.62 mana regen per 5 seconds. Karma should already have a Runic Compass, which adds another 50% mana regen. And so the mana you get from Malignance is nice, but you don't actually need it. It's not like you're gonna always be casting Q straight off cooldown, so it's really hard to have mana problems already. So Malignance gives Karma's ult a total of 45 ability haste. Realistically, you're gonna get this item post level 6 and pre-level 11, so with 2 points into R, buying Malignance on its own without the Transcendence rune or the ability shard rune, you get nearly 12 seconds shaved off of her ult cooldown. So from 38 seconds, it reduces it down to 26.21 seconds. But why get Malignance when Imperial Mandate exists? For 2,300 gold, you get 60 AP, 20 ability haste, and 125 bonus mana regen. The item's passive applies a mark for 5 seconds if you slow or immobilize an enemy with an ability. They'll be dealt 12% current health in magic damage, well, now it's 10%, if an ally damages them in any way. And you and the ally that activated the mark gain 25% bonus movement speed for 2 seconds. This has a 9-second cooldown per enemy champion. Karma's R at rank 2 is 38 seconds, with Malignance's 25 ability haste and 20 ulti haste compared to Imperial's 20 haste only. Malignance shortens the ulti cooldown by 5.46 seconds more. Karma wants to spam her RQ as much as possible in the early game to dish out damage. The 5 seconds shaved off is a noticeable damage increase over time. Although with Malignance, there is a downside that outweighs the upside. I'll talk about it later on in the video. To dive deeper into these two items, I'll have to make sure everyone watching understands what Karma wants to do in the game, so I'll briefly touch on it. In the early game, Karma is trying to make use of her Q to poke enemies and make plays with her W root in order to gain a significant advantage in gold and experience. During mid-game, Karma uses more REs to protect her allies rather than using more RQs to deal more damage. She will be protecting her allies in fights, continue to make plays, and following up on plays with her team to create an even more larger advantage. And for late game, it's similar to mid game, except she won't be starting fights on her own. At this point, it's too dangerous. And with her ult, she'll basically be casting RE 80% of the time. So now, onto the items. Imperial Mandate is 400 gold cheaper than Malignance. So both of these items are bought for a very similar reason, which is to make the enemies take more damage. And this would lead into a experience or gold lead, which could be done as killing the enemies, making them back, or zoning them away from the minions. Did you know every champion earns 20.4 gold every 10 seconds? And World Atlas adds 3 gold per 10 seconds on top of that. So after 2 minutes and 50 seconds, you would have earned 397.8 gold from just existing. Now imagine being 3 minutes earlier on completing your first legendary item on a champ that wants to win early game. So earlier I said Malignance reduces Karma's ult cooldown 5.46 seconds more than Imperial, and that this upside doesn't outweigh the downside. So often by the time you get Malignance, laning phase is about to be over, or mid-game has already begun. Getting Malignance hurts Karma's early game power since it's completed noticeably later than Imperial due to its cost. And as well as when mid-game comes by, you're going to be slowly casting more REs as I mentioned earlier. And so with Malignance's Hate Fog passive, you're not going to be using it because REs doesn't deal damage. With Imperial's cheaper cost to complete, it gives Karma earlier impact when poking or making plays. And not only that, the damage dealt is current health, so as the enemies gain health, you deal more damage without needing to put more gold towards it. Similar to how Liandry's does percent max health damage. This is unlike Malignance, where you need to get more AP to deal more damage with Hate Fog. The downside of Imperial is that if your ADC isn't often proccing the mark in laning phase, this makes the passive go to waste. It's true that Malignance's Hate Fog passive is self-reliant, but remember later on you're going to be casting more REs anyway, and that won't activate Hate Fog. With that, using Malignance's passive has the condition of needing to use R. With Imperial, you just need to use your low cooldown Q or root the enemy with W. To counteract Imperial's potential downside of the unreliability, when you make plays with an ally, skirmish, and teamfight, the mark will be highly likely to be procced anyways. Lastly, if you have any questions or want to have a discussion with me about this video, we can do that in the comments, okay? Thank you for watching.